Base end.
Yes.
So the reason why I'm asking this question is it's the part which you mentioned that look, it's really important to figure out what's right for you. I want to stress on that part because it makes sense. Like you don't want to put something which you don't need, or you don't want to put something which should be done, but just for the cost factor you are compromising. So what's the range? Which I can go for?
Yes. So I'll talk about the larger properties, and this is where it gets really interesting.
Okay.
So we get this a lot. So normally most people have no idea about how much it's going to cost for fencing.
Correct.
So they come to us and they ask us what will be the cost of fencing 1 acre of land.
Okay.
Now they will ask us, and what they will do, we'll tell them the cost of say an acre of land. It could be let's say 80,000.
मेरे पास 2000 square feet है कर दो.
So I'm correct. So let's say 1 acre of land. We tell them let's say it costs. I'm just giving for example a lakh. Like there are options less than a lakh also, more than a lakh also. Let's say it will cost you 1 lakh rupees. Now in their head they do a calculation. I have 10 acres. So okay, 1 acre is 1 lakh. So 10 acres is going to be 10 lakhs. Oh, I don't have that kind of money. Actually, that's a wrong calculation because your perimeter does not increase in the same proportion as the area.
Correct.
So, for example, 10 acres, the boundary length would be roughly about 4,000 running feet, or about let's say, So you would end up spending 4 lakh rupees, not 10 lakh rupees.
Correct.
So to help in this, we have something called as and this is the only website in the world which has an area to perimeter converter. So if you go on justfence.in, you will see something called as an area calculator. You go in there, you just put in what is the area of your property. The minute you plug that value in, it will calculate an approximate boundary. Now the boundary will of course vary if your size of your property is a square or it's a very long form kind of a thing. So but this is something that can be done that can kind of give you an idea about like how much it would really cost.
Makes sense. And I would urge you guys to check out justfence.in just from a resource perspective. So that's good. I'll probably do another video showcasing what all you've built, but that's interesting. And what you said is right. Like you have to think of perimeter, not you're fencing the perimeter. You're not going to create divisions in between.
Yeah.
Okay. Great. So moving on, my next point. So you didn't answer my question. So what's the extreme end which you have taken up?
Okay, you are asking from a cost point of view.
Yeah.
So we have some really fancy fences as well. Like we have a fence which is made of aluminium, which is like a 3D custard.
Okay.
The minute you put it, like you're gonna attract a lot of eyeballs. And we have something which can be like gold plated on aluminium kind of a thing.
Wow. Okay.
So on the upper end, it even goes up to like say 6,000 rupees per square feet. Of course, It's not recommended on the boundary, but let's say there's a small area where you really want it to stand out. So there it can be, but that's a beautiful fence. It's like mostly
it's a sculpture. It's not a fence.
Exactly. Mostly in the export markets, like in Middle East, etc. They have the fascination with gold. So that's on the high end of sorts. So
coming to India, you serve and you execute in Bangalore. What about serving and executing outside of Bangalore?
Yeah, so that's one of our USPs. So we are headquartered in Bangalore. We have offices in Chennai, we have in Hyderabad, we have in Mumbai, we have in Delhi, we have in Cochin, we have in Coimbatore, we have in Madurai, we have in Karur, and now this year we have plans of setting up offices in 12 more cities. So on the radar are Calcutta, there is Ahmedabad, there is Pune, there's Indore, there's Lucknow, Jaipur, and a few more cities that we are right now looking at. So that's a USP that let's say sitting in Hyderabad, you can get your property done in Bangalore and vice versa. Sitting in Delhi, you can get a property done in Mumbai, and we get a lot of customers of that sort. So you don't actually have to travel to the other place. So our team will do everything for you.
And you can serve in any location?
Any location. So in terms of let's say even it's a rural area, let's say you have a property in Hassan or you have in Bellary or whatever, you have done projects. A lot of projects we have done over there. Okay. But of course, there's always a disclaimer because the team would be coming, let's say, from a city to that. So sometimes the cost would be a little bit more because that travel cost, and then there would be a civil engineer who would be traveling along kind of
to plan it
and that kind of thing. So the charges would of course be a little bit more compared to let's say a local player who's kind of maybe doing it over there. But in the overall scheme of things, it is quite competitive is what I would say.
So when as a property owner, what are my different options which I have available when I get to fencing with Just Fence, or say independently also if I want to do, like what should I sort of expect from Just Fence?
Yeah. So as I was telling about, so the primary intention of Just Fence is to guide people with regards to fencing. Like as I was saying, not just in India, but even globally. Like I've traveled to 34 countries and I've not come across any company which is out there to guide people in a step-by-step fashion. That I have a property, how do I kind of secure it? And that goes with our website. You have all the information which is free of cost. That is, nothing is charged on justfence.in. So that is of course there. The second is, let's say you have a property outside of the cities where we are present in, or in any part of India, like you can just kind of buy materials from us. We will give you all the technical know-how, we'll give you manuals, we'll give you videos of how you can use the standards which are there, the fencing standards, and fence your property. And the third is anything with regards to fencing, you can just kind of approach us. We are there to kind of guide you. But the important thing is, please fence your property. That is more important, irrespective of how you kind of do it. Like either you do it with us or with anyone kind of this thing. But because the cost of not fencing can be a lot, and the worst is the litigations that you talked about. So that can be something very, very painful, and it can lose a lot of life. A lot of years in your life once it gets into litigation.
Right.
So that is what it is. So completely flexible model, and we are very open with regards to. You can just give us a call. We have fencing experts. We'll guide you with regards to it, irrespective of you buy with us or you don't buy with us.
Makes sense. Okay. So I have just two more questions regarding the kinds of properties and the kinds of fencing which is possible, and how someone in that scenario should think about their, like fencing needs. Mm-hmm. One is in the two extremes. One is when a property is very close to the sea, and one is when a property is in a hilly terrain. So how does someone approach those two sort of scenarios? Because close to the sea, I mean, I know this for a fact that I happen to have a first degree relation with someone whose property was very close to a river stream, and like we had this crazy floods a few years back, and the entire property was engulfed in it. So of course your normal fencing is focused on providing solution for protection against wild animals or encroachment. But is there some sort of a solution for this, where it was in a hilly area close to a river stream, got completely over flooded? At the same time, you have in these, near the sea. Yes. How do you handle these two scenarios?
Yes. So near the sea, definitely there needs to be a different type of fence to be used. Like we have offices in Mumbai, Chennai, which are very close to the sea coast. And we've also done properties right at the sea coast, like for example in Goa we have done projects. So over there, the one is that there's a lot of humidity in the air, so the moisture content is very high. So let's say if you have a regular metal, it tends to corrode very fast. So we have some very like highly galvanized material and also powder coated material which actually stand those kind of weather conditions. So in fact, we have some there's a technical term called as GSM, that's kind of zinc coating on a metal. So we have very high zinc coating, like say 275 GSM. We also have powder coated items, etc., which we recommend in those places. Coming to the hilly areas, from a weather point of view, there's not much. Maybe the rainfall could be more. But in hilly terrains, the challenge is with regards to the ups and downs being on the land. So in those cases, we cannot go for certain types of fence solutions. For example, if you take a precast wall, like they would be at least 6 feet, 7 feet. So there'll be a lot of steps. So unless you're willing to kind of do the steps, you have to use some other types of fence solutions. So we have solutions with regards to it as well. So that's what we have been saying. So because we have dealt with so many properties the past few years, we pretty much know all the scenarios. So we are just a call away, or like you can just log on to our website. Pretty much you get all the information, and we can guide with regards to what needs to be done.
Okay, so this will have to be. You need a lot more information to figure out what exactly would be recommended for a property in that location.
Yeah, because it again depends on the terrain, depends on the size of the properties. What if, let's say, for example, in hilly areas, for example, in Kodaikanal, you have this Nilgai problem. You have in Nilgiris, you have bison problem. You have. So in some places you have elephant problem. So I mean, depending on the objective, like that is what we normally suggest.
Perfect. So if someone wants your services, where should they log on to? You can shout out.
So as I have told, all you need to do is just log on to www.justfence.in, that is justfence.in, and our numbers are there on the website. You can just call us. We are over there. In general, like the website is self-explanatory, and you will get pretty much all the information that you kind of need there. So that's the best way to contact.
Perfect. Thank you so much for doing this interview. I think you've given a lot of insights as to what someone should do the moment they buy a property or are planning to buy a property. Thank you so much for this, Kunal.
Thanks, Nikhil, for covering this. Sure. I think we get this told by a lot of customers that thank God you guys exist, because many times they're like clueless with